pray for the safety of President Trump and Elon Musk, because the left seriously wants to mend it. It's terrible to have to say that, but that's the truth. So the train keeps moving. The Trump train keeps on moving in terms of cleaning up government corruption. DOGE is in the IRS. DOGE is canceling contracts. And Elon Musk was with the president the other day. Again, he is an employee of the president of the United States, the federal government, working for the president in the White House. He's not a rogue agent. He works for President Trump. And he made the point, he says, you know, we've got to be able to control the bureaucracy if we want to have what is called a democracy. I call it a constitutional republic. I understand democracy. I know there's yes, he understands we're a constitutional republic, but democracy is understood to mean we get to vote for who runs the country, right? And the constitutional republic is the structure in which we exercise these democratic votes. And if we can't hire and fire bureaucrats through our elected president, who is the sole authority of the executive branch, then why have elections? Which is exactly why the left doesn't like elections and doesn't like the ability of the president to do what he wants to do. And so they're in the weird position, the left, of defending fraud, and rather than dealing with what President Trump wants to do in a serious way, they're screaming and inciting violence. And that's when you can understand what they're saying. So we've got a series of videos, a few videos where I'm commenting or watching them about the highlighting the dangerous insanity of the extremist left, who are trying to defend do-nothing federal employees, hundreds of billions of dollars in government waste, fraud, and abuse, and making sure that you as a taxpayer have no way to control it. Let's go to the first video.
I want to hear why, but do you think that calling Elon Musk a dick is effective messaging for confronting what is a potentially irreversible transformation of the U.S. government?
Well, he is a dick. And I think that he's also harming the American public in an enormous way. And what I think is really important, and what the American public want, is for us to bring actual weapons to this bar fight. This is an actual fight for democracy.
What is he doing here? He is inciting violence against Elon Musk, calling for people to bring actual arms. This is what the left has been doing. It's what they like to do, which is to incite and cause violence against their political enemies. He's putting Musk's life in danger. He's putting Trump's life in danger. He's putting so many lives in danger.
I think the House should consider censuring him or expelling him. I mean, that was completely shocking. I mean, I half joked, I almost turned green and turned into the Hulk watching all that crap. It's unbelievable. I mean, this is no joke when you start calling on people to bring actual weapons to a public policy debate to, quote, fight. How is that not incitement? Now, is it criminal incitement? Maybe. Is it unethical as a member of Congress? Yes. Mike Johnson and Republicans in Congress and any honest Democrats who actually believe in the rule of law should take action against that member of Congress. I forget his name. I forget his name? Was it Garcia? I think it was Garcia who did it. Well, we'll figure it out. Let's go to the next tape. I mean, that was the worst of it. It's as bad, semi-comical, because it gets even less in terms of at least he specifically says what he wants done. The rest of this gang here, they don't even know what they're complaining about.
Now, I'm going to be quick because I want to send a message to somebody. Elon, take your musty millions and musty Moscow rights to the moon. Because if you don't, we're going to stand up, we're going to speak out, we're going to march, we're going to do anything we need to do to make sure that the people of this country understand that the CFPB is for them. You get your musty hands off of our money or go to Moscow. You musty moo.
Oh, what is happening? He sounds like a 3-year-old complaining that the CFPB is going to be run by a presidential appointee. The CFPB, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, is a notoriously, I would say, rogue agency that exercises its powers to undermine our financial system on behalf of the radical left. Let's put it this way. It's the idea of Senator Elizabeth Warren. And Judicial Watch years ago exposed how they were vacuuming up the credit card information of millions of Americans, supposedly anonymized. No one believes that was the case. And they've just gotten worse and worse since then. And they can't defend it other than by saying moo moo. Let's go to the next one.
For every American who doesn't want some weird Elon Musk suck up searching through your personal private data, this is your fight. Your fight, my fight, our fight, and we will win this fight. Are you ready to say no to Elon Musk? We will fight it out in Congress. We will fight it out in the courts. We will fight it out across this country. And I promise you,
Do you think she's going to win? That's Elizabeth Warren. Again, using juvenile language, channeling Tim Walz. I mean, there are these young men who are working for Elon Musk, geniuses, and they're working at his direction. And all they are doing are asking questions to ensure that there's no fraud in government spending. And can checks be put in place to address the fraud that anyone who's anyone looking at it has found? There was a testimony the other day by an expert. He estimates that between federal, local, and state spending related to certain government programs, there's $1 trillion in fraud that can be curtailed. Just in fraud. We're not talking about cuts. We're talking about money that should not go out that keeps on going out. And what's outrageous about what's going on with Musk and President Trump and DOGE is there's not one thing, I say that, I exaggerate, I'm sure there is, there's virtually nothing in terms of fraud, waste, and abuse, and the concerns about failures to have systems in place to prevent them. There's nothing that's being uncovered that people in this city haven't known about for decades. And it's only with President Trump coming in finally with Musk and DOGE, is there someone willing to do something about it in a serious way? And frankly, any politician who gets in the way of that are poor stewards of taxpayer monies, to put it charitably. I mean, I'm frustrated with Republicans too, for example. USAID, they're trying to get that $40 billion program under control. What was the first Republican response to the USAID scandal? You had farm state Republicans, powerful Republicans in the House, introduce legislation to move a $1.8 billion project called Food for Peace, which by all accounts is just a vehicle to give money to farmers for food that is not sent out in a way that really helps anyone. They want to protect that money, so they're going to move that pot from USAID more directly over to the Department of Agriculture. That was the first Republican response to the USAID scandal. So you see all these Democrats inciting violence, mocking Musk, saying silly things. But on the other hand, you have Republicans who are kind of like frozen because they don't know what to do, and they're unwilling to do what's necessary to follow up on Trump's desire and the voters' desires to get the government back under control because we're broke. $2 trillion deficit. We have no more money. And if you want to know why we have inflation, it's because we're broke and we're spending money we don't have, and the dollar is getting less and less valuable. And when that happens, you have inflation. Let's go to the next video.
Does this remind you of the other people who have blocked the schoolhouse doors before?
Yes.
Yep. Right. Boy, this is a flashback.
This is going to go out in history. The man who blocked the doors, let him get recorded in history for what he's doing today. Let his children see him. What's your name? Tell us your name. Give me that ID again.
I showed it to you.
So what?
I showed you the ID.
You do what?
I showed you the ID.
Could you let me see the ID again? Huh?
No.
No? Will someone else ask him for the...
I mean, that's outrageous. They start playing the race card as these members of Congress show up at a federal building and demand access to the leadership of the agency, and they expect us to get in without they get to invade the space. Is that an insurrection they were trying to run there and playing the race card and doing so? And that poor employee being mocked and denigrated by Maxine Waters, not only someone who has a record time and time again of inciting violence against her opponents. Remember, she did that during the first presidential term of Trump. She's got a record of government corruption herself. Look up Maxine Waters and her husband's bank. Just Google it. Google Judicial Watch. I think we had an ethics complaint about it, or we did some investigations of it. And it's this incitement, you know, that they're putting the targets on the back of their opponents. I mean, that poor guy, I'd be worried about his safety if I were him. Let's go to the next tape.
Look, the communist left likes to use language like fascist and Hitler and Nazi to smear their political opponents like Elon Musk. Not just because of the rhetoric, but because they know it incites violence and it justifies violence against their political enemies. They want to end Trump, obviously. They want to hurt conservatives. They're opposing DOGE and any government reform. But instead of just persuading, they want violence. This is the communist way, and it's deadly dangerous.
As I said, it's putting Trump at risk. It's putting Musk at risk. Anyone who works for Trump at the White House at risk, and of course, other innocents throughout the country. And I continue to be concerned about the Secret Service. That hasn't been fixed yet. You know, Musk is at the White House. He's kind of going in and out. But I suspect he probably has personal security because he's been under threat for some time, and is rightly sensitive for his family over that. So I'm outraged because Trump is doing basic government reform work, and for that he's being threatened with violence, he and his people. I understand the government unions are going to oppose it. I understand the left is going to sue. But don't start talking about fighting people in the streets. Don't start talking about bringing actual weapons to the debate. Don't call people fascist and Nazi in a way that targets people for violence. But, commies are going to be communists. There's a famous book, maybe it's not that famous, but I always was struck by the title. And I may be I may be not repeating the title correctly, but the point is, you can trust the communists to be communists. You can trust the communists to be communists. So pray for the safety of President Trump and Elon Musk, because the left seriously wants to mend it. It's terrible to have to say that, but that's the truth. And so Judicial Watch, we will investigate the deep state insurrection encouraged by these outside leftists. We've already got several Freedom of Information Act requests on the DOGE efforts and the deep state efforts to derail that. And of course, we're looking very carefully at the various court cases, and we will, if we can, and if it's appropriate and we can be helpful, we'll intervene where we can with amicus briefs or other ways as these cases creep up through the courts. So Judicial Watch, I'm not coming on here just to complain about stuff. I'm also coming here to report to you that we're on it. And frankly, I think Congress should be on it as well. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and like our video down below.